So that brings us to the Gathering's feud with Raven. If you remember, at the end of the month, CM Punk and Julio De Niro turned on Raven in December. They betrayed him in their steel cage match. And now we've led straight into Raven and the Sandman against the Gathering. First show of the month.
Yeah, it kind of turns into a Friends of Raven versus Gathering thing.
Yeah, because here the story is that the Gathering have somebody on their side, and it's revealed to be Father James Mitchell is managing the Gathering to take out Raven. So the finish of this match, a masked man comes out and puts some chloroform over the face of Raven. Here's a fun note. Raven insisted on real ether being used for his angle with James Mitchell last week. There was a lot of wrestlers laughing at Raven over this, and the laughter turned to anger when Dutch Mantel stunk up the locker room by pouring some of the liquid on a rag.
Is that like bad for you?
I'd imagine you could be knocked out by it, so yeah.
Probably killing a few brain cells there.
So yeah, this masked man put the ether rag up to Raven's face. Raven passed out. The Gathering won. Then they went up the ramp. He pulled off his hood dramatically. It was a very, shoddy looking outfit, by the way, that masked outfit.
I would like to actually rewatch that now and see, how Raven passed out.
So that allows the Gathering to beat Raven and Sandman. I will say it's a nice bit of continuity that Raven turned to Sandman, just like he did earlier in the year. And I think it was Don West actually connected those dots. That one of the big driving factors in the Gathering turning on Raven was him choosing to team with Sandman against the Red Shirts, and now he's turning to Sandman again to team against the Gathering.
And as Sandman learns, can't trust that Raven.
Yep. So Mitchell comes out, chloroforms him, reveals himself as Father James Mitchell, and Raven is shook by the return of James Mitchell.
And also the real ether pouring into his face.
I love Sandman's high flying, by the way, because we get a whole month of Sandman and Person against the Gathering matches this month. And it's just every one of them basically has him hitting a top rope Hurricane Rana on CM Punk. And they're bad, but great.
Sandman's great. Seriously, I said this during the watch along, but it's I never see that a Sandman match is on the lineup and get upset. I'm always sure, let's go.
So Raven is so shook that he disappears.
Thus proving the Gathering right that Raven's all about himself all the time. Leaves his partner high and dry to face this war.
So they show a clip of someone trying to get comment up. It was probably Scott. Trying to get comment from Raven about it. Raven leaves in his car and we do not see him for the rest of the month. Sandman continues to fight Raven's battles in his stead.
Scott clearly should have hijacked a car behind Raven and chased him down.
We've learned he does not know how to hijack a car, but it would be fun character continuity, character development if he's after that segment with James Mitchell, I learned.
It would be funny if he tried to. He's I gotta get this scoop.
So Hudson goes to interview Raven, but it turns out it's James Mitchell in a hoodie.
Yeah, was that also on this show?
Yeah, it was the second show of the month.
There you go. He's Raven.
It's just nope. It's because he's in Raven's perch or whatever, Raven's locker room. He's taken Raven's space,
which was a toilet before, and now it's just a creepy red room.
Yeah,
the chain hanging up, or I guess it's probably the dog collar, I imagine.
So Mitchell offers Sandman a chance to back out of the match, and the Gathering want to make an example out of Sandman. You can tell, and there's a note that CM Punk apparently was not happy about James Mitchell being made their manager. Not really due to anything against James Mitchell, just because he thought it would infringe on his own promo time. He thought he was finally getting his own angle with promo time, and then suddenly he's given a manager that will eat into his promo time. But it's funny when you watch all of their promos, it's basically James Mitchell cuts the promo, and then CM Punk cuts his own version of basically the same promo every week.
Well, to be fair, I can understand where he's coming from, because I felt like he was finally starting to break out a little bit, because he was getting that time to talk.
And then they're nope, Father James Mitchell, please.
Which, I get for storyline purposes. But hey, they kind of have this balancing act with it, so I think it's fine.
I quite liked Julio De Niro backstage, calling him CM.
Yeah.
Not Punk? CM?
No.
You going with CM here?
Listen, this goes back to our upset we were and that CM Punk never got Julio some ROH gigs, because in my head, and I don't know if this is with you too, but I just imagine them as being best mates, and truly it upsets me to assume that they weren't.
Yeah, it's only other workers call him Punk, but his friends call him CM.
Oh.
I also found it funny that the Gathering betrayed Raven and he was fine with it. He's coming back the next week for revenge with the Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
But James Mitchell shows up.
Yeah.
James Mitchell is here. And now all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm gone. Bye. I'm never coming back.
Yeah, I don't know. He never showed up again, did he? Or did he come back right at the end? I forgot.
No, there's a bunch of teases. There's a bunch of video teases that he'll be back, but he doesn't actually show up.
I really hope he comes back with a shaved head again.
He doesn't, I don't think, so.
Oh, that would have been such a great bit if he came back with the shaved head.
Purged himself once again to take down the new church. Or the new church? The gathering or the new church,
the
basically.
Gathering. The church gathering.
There's too many vampires in TNA, so they have merged the two vampire things into one vampire.
Yeah, and got rid of them.
So they got rid of two of the vampires, gave two of the other perceived vampires the vampire manager, and now it's a consolidation of vampires here in 2014.
To be fair, all the vampires are in the same thing now, so...
It's true. They're all in one place. So we had a double Singapore cane match in which the Gathering faced the Sandman. It was meant to be the Sandman and Raven, but Raven didn't show up. So Sandman rallied, but Mitchell caused a distraction, allowing a double super kick for the win. And then the Gathering beat him down with canes after the match.
We're starting to see some actual Gathering tag cohesion now.
I will say the Gathering shouldn't have needed a distraction to beat the Sandman 2-on-1.
Yeah.
Should have beat him.
I thought it was fine.
So then the theme of the rest of the month is the Sandman can no longer rely on Raven to be his partner, so he has to go to his Rolodex of ECW pals to come back and be his partners.
Well, something I liked about this was they did the match, and then they went to the back with the Hudson and Watts and Goldie promo, and then they came back, and Sandman was just... I think they threw to Mike and Don, who was starting to do the rundown or whatever, and then you just hear Sandman in that classic John Moxley voice, as we learned, just screaming in the ring, just wailing about the Gathering and about how he's going to bring Balls Mahoney.
Yeah, so Balls will be his first man to try and take down the Gathering next week as they face off the Gathering versus the Sandman and Balls. Balls, very good shape, by the way.
Yeah, he was looking good here.
Thought he looked well for himself, even though this is one of his only TNA appearances until Hardcore Justice and stuff around that.
My first TNA show.
The 2010 one, the ECW one?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, what a show to start with.
First pay-per-view, I should say.
So the Gathering win when they hit their finish, which is an elbow sidewalk slam. They used to have a tag team finish. It used to be like a Doomsday Device dropkick.
I do remember that.
And now they've shifted to doing an elbow drop side slam combo, which Jurassic Express did on Dynamite this week.
Yeah.
Callback to the Gathering.
God, this is all building to Julio returning and coming to AEW.
He sure is, definitely, 100%. Nothing else. Sandman failed again with Balls. Gathering win. CM Punk grabbed a microphone, which I think is the first time he's had a live mic in TNA history. To the degree that I think the first thing he says is it's about time, which I think he's literally him being like, finally I get to speak in front of an audience.
Yeah, it was always such a weird choice. This guy who's best known for his speaking roles, it's we're going to put him with Raven so he never gets a chance to speak.
And then he's going to turn on Raven and we're going to put him with James Mitchell so he still never gets a chance to speak.
And you wonder why he ended up choosing Ring of Honor over TNA.
It wasn't a choice.
Oh yeah, because he had the fight with Teddy Hart.
That's why he stopped doing TNA. But he says they'll pay in blood, and then they get tax from under the ring, but they don't pour out the tax. It would have been the first tack moment in TNA history, wouldn't it? But they didn't actually pour out the tax, so we never saw them. A warped version of Raven's theme played as the lights flickered on and off, but it serves as much as a distraction for Sandman to make the comeback. So we are teasing Raven potentially returning with light effects and music.
Yeah.
But Punk does look very happy to be getting promo time. You can see it. You can see it in his eyes whenever he gets 60 seconds to cut a promo.
It's helping set him apart from everyone too.
Because he can't do it any other way.
You want people on YouTube to call you a goof again?
Yeah, they're going to get mad at me. I like CM Punk. I think he's great. Later in the show, they do the same old promo. They dare him to choose Raven as his partner again because they know he won't show up.
It's not like it's a choice for Sandman.
He chose him as his partner for the double Singapore Cane match, and he didn't show up.
He's like, if I could, I would, man.
So last show of the month, The Gathering against the Sandman once again. This time, his partner is the debuting Mikey Whipwreck.
But also, I think more importantly, the Sandman sounds exactly like John Moxley. Exactly.
They showed a promo that they aired originally on Explosion where he's like, I'm going to keep on coming, I don't care, I'm going to take down the devil.
He has this point where he's like, Raven! And it's like, this is a Moxley promo.
I'm sorry, Moxley does Sandman promos.
Yeah, I guess so. But goddamn, they sound the exact fucking same.
They do. We even looked into whether or not they came from the same place, and they don't.
It must just be the cigarettes.
I was gonna say, it's just the smoking, isn't it?
The smoking and the alcohol, I guess.
Gives that gravelly quality to your voice.
Because, like, I'm not even really talking about, like, modern day Moxley. Like, I'm talking about, like, Moxley in CZW. Like, that era of Moxley, like, when he was younger and his voice was a little higher. That's what he sounds like.
I assume Sandman is an influence for him, right?
I would have to think on a level he is. I think I remember watching one of his shoot interviews and he talked about Sandman being an influence.
So Mikey Whipwreck is the partner of Sandman in a really nice touch. A touch I liked a lot. Mikey Whipwreck came out and he stood next to the Gathering because Mikey Whipwreck was managed by James Mitchell and ECW to the tag titles. So they did a little tease that, oh no, has he chosen a guy who's going to turn on him immediately? But no, Mikey Whipwreck did side with him.
Yeah. I like this. I like that a lot too. I thought it was a really nice touch.
Yeah, it would have been like a weird thing to ignore. It's like, oh, well, he used to be managed by James Mitchell. Why is he fighting him? It's like, oh, because he's friends with his pal, the Sandman, and that's why he's fighting him. And they played on it. They teased it.
Yeah, it was a nice touch. Clearly, Tajiri needs to come in now.
Yeah, they need to get everybody from the ECW, which they're doing. So after this match, Gathering won, again, with their side slam elbow. They whip Sandman with a cane after the match. Lights go out. Raven Montage appears saying, I am watching you, devil, as the Gathering are spooked.
Ooh.
And then later in the show, Scott Hudson is backstage with the Sandman, who's like, Whipwreck failed, Balls failed, Raven nowhere to be seen, there's only one place I can turn. Next week, it will be the Gathering versus the Sandman and the debuting hardcore legend Terry Funk.
Yeah, I mean, that's about as hard as you can go.
You can go no higher in the ECW canon than Terry Funk.
Fresh off working Punk and Ring of Honor too.
So that will be, there's 2 Terry Funk matches in February we can look forward to. So
I am very much looking forward to them.
The only Terry Funk matches in TNA history. The only Terry Funk appearances in TNA history coming up in our February 2004 episode.
And kind of a full circle moment because very early on there was a lot of talk about getting Terry Funk in.
And not just Terry, of course, Dory was on the early shows as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that is all the Gathering and Sandman stuff as they have a series of tag team matches that will continue into February.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm once again, the Raven Gathering / New Church stuff is the best stuff on the show.
Just consistently. And even like this month, the matches are all pretty short. They're pretty quick. But they don't stay. They're welcome either. They're in and out. They're done.
That's good though.
Yes, in many ways.